He says it has a tuda, has a certification. Well, if I'm eating something which is not kosher, it's the rabbi's problem. It's not my problem. It's not true. Not true. Not simple. Because you know, even with certification, it's not so simple that everything's 100% okay. You can speak to the mashgichim themselves, and they say, once went into a restaurant and asked the person, I asked him, says, you know, it's better not to eat it. He's the mashgich, it's better not to eat it. So what are we talking about? We got a problem. Exactly. No, we're not talking leniencies. Choking, it's choking, yeah, sure. Sure, definitely. It's like eating something that's tainted. You get sick. You see, parallel dover, right? Unless it's the majority, everybody has to bring a chatos. Okay. We left off over here. You have enough stories today, Nafi? You have enough stories for today? Okay. Okay. Tanu Rabbanon. Okay. 6 lines from the bottom. Tanu Rabbanon. Learn the Brisa. Almona, almona, almona. A person violated the law. He's a Kohen Gadol and he had relations with almona, almona, almona. Gemara will explain what the case is speaking about. Eino chai vela achas. And he was forewarned. So he violated a love. So how many sets of malchus does he receive? He receives 1. So the Gemara in the conclusion will say she is the widow of Ruvain, the widow of Shimon, and the widow of Levi. So she was widowed 3 times from 3 husbands, but it's the same woman. So in actuality, he has relations with her. She was a widow 3 times. So maybe she receive 3 sets of malchus. But what's the violation? The violation is 1, right? She's a widow. It's irrelevant how many times she's been widowed. Grusha, grusha, grusha. Right? This is what you call a 3-time loser. Okay? She was divorced 3 times. And a Kohen cohabits with her. Eino chai v'lachas. Again, 1 woman. Almona grusha v'chalolo. A woman, the same woman. She was widowed first. Subsequently, she was remarried, divorced, v'chalolo. And then afterwards, she married a Kohen, or she cohabited with a Kohen, she became a chalolo, zona. And at the end, she had relations with a non-Jew or with a mamzer. Or incestuous relationship. So she becomes a zona. Bizman shem keseder. If she actually took on the various blemishes in this order, chayvel kalachs v'yachas. With 1 act of cohabitation, he violated all these various categories of defilement. Almona, grusha, chalola, zona. So that means if with 1 warning, forewarning, doing that 1 action, he gets 4 or 5 sets of malchus.
Even though 1 is worse than the worst.
We'll discuss it. That's the Gemara Mars question. Penis chalal iser. If she already had a forbidden status to him, so how did the other transgressions, how did they come about? Right? We just mentioned it yesterday. You know, the Gemara says in Makos that ochel patiso, if you eat a certain type of insect, loke chomesh. Just one insect, and over there it enumerates the lavin. So you're doing 1 act of eating, and but factually you violated simultaneously 5 lavin. You get 5 sets of malchus. Here, this woman, how many levels of spiritual defect does she have? Of levels of illegitimacy? She has 4 or 5. So you get, if you're forewarned, you get that many sets of malchus for the 1 action. We'll see in a moment. Zinso. What about she first had relations with a mamzer? She became a zona. And then subsequently nischalo. And then she married a Kohen. So a Kohen who has a relations with a woman who's not permitted to him, she becomes a chavola. But it has to be isakuna. It's not a Kohen who has relations with a mamzeris. It's these particular women who the Torah prohibits specifically to a Kohen. So first she became a zona, zinzo, v'nischalo, nisgarsho, and then she became a divorcee, v'nisalman, and ultimately she became widowed. Okay? Eino chayv la'achas. If he's forewarned, even for all of them, every one of these negative categories, she only gets malchus for the zona. He only gets malchus for violating the law of zona, not for the subsequent categories. So Gemara asks why. If you're of the opinion, Einis Chalis, so once she's prohibited, no other level of prohibition could come upon her. So whether it's in that order, not in that order, she shouldn't be subject to more than one set. And if you're of the opinion, Isser Chalal Isser, that you could have multiple prohibitions, classification, Isser coming regardless. So why should he not be regardless in what order? He should be subject to as many lavim as he violated. That's going to be the Gemara's question. Okay, now we're going to address it. Omamar, which learned in the Braisa, Almona, Almona, Almona. She was an Almona, was being with 3 Almonos. Eino chayv alachas. He's only subject to one set of malchus. Hi Almona hechidami. The case of Almona, which was 3 times. What exactly is the case? Ilay mishabal Almonas Ruvain, Valmonas Shimon, Valmonas Levi. He had relations with 3 separate widows. And Tosaf will explain on the second side on Amid Beis. What about Ruvain had 3 wives, and he dies? So we're talking, it's 3 different women. They're all widows of the same man, but it's 3 separate women. It's the same thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be Ruvain's widow, Shimon's widow, Levi's widow. It's called Gufin Muchlokim. As long as it's 3 different people. If it's the same woman and you have relations multiple times, that's one. That's one. We'll say discuss it. But if it's 3 different people, 3 bodies, even though it's the repetition of the same negative commandment, you see it as separate lavim. Therefore, we'll get multiple sets of malchus. We'll see it on the second. Somewhere asks, Amayinu chayv elachas. Why should he only be liable for one set of malchus if she's the widow of Reuven, Shimon, and Levi? They're 3 different women. Hare gufun muchlokin, hare shemus muchlokin. So it says 2 things here. It's separate bodies. It's 3 different people, women, and also they're the widows of 3 different individuals. So Tosa is going to explain. We'll see it inside that when the Gemara says shemus muchlokin, that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. That's really totally superfluous. Shemus muchlokin. It doesn't make a difference if it's Reuven, Shimon, and Levi's widow. It could have been Reuven had 3 wives and he dies. So 3 women, 3 of them widows, even though they're widows of the same man. But since it's Gufin Muchlokin, since it's 3 different people, widows that he's having relations with, he's subject to 3 sets of malchus. So when the Gemara says Gufin Muchlokin, Shemus Muchlokin, it's totally it's not correct. It's just superfluous. Elo, so what's the case where he's only subject to one set of malchus? Elo shebal amona achas sholosh bios. He actually cohabited with the same widow 3 times. No. It's factually it says one set of malchus. So it can be 3 widows, 3 women, not possible. We're trying to understand. We want to. We want to bring out a point. So as unusual the case may be or not be, if the only case what's usually the case of 3 widows? It's 3 different women. It's not the same woman that's married 3 times, and she was widowed 3 times. Right? I mean, firstly, we rule halacha, and this people don't know today. that if a woman is widowed twice, the third person is he permitted to marry her? David. She's called the Katlonis, a killer wife, right? Katlonis. If you read the New York Post, you find these kinds of expressions. Killer wife. Wait, so that it's a machlokus. But since it's a question of pikuach nefesh, we go to chumrah. So 2 is a chazaka. No. Yeah, I mean, no question. There's an argument in the Gemara. Why is a woman a katlonis? Is it because she's bad luck? It's mazel? Or it's because it has something to do with the chemistry within the body, and as a result of cohabiting with the woman, the man was affected. What's the difference? What's the difference? Let's say he was killed in an accident. If he's killed in an accident, it doesn't relate to the chemistry. But if it's a question of bad luck, she's bad luck. She buried 3 husbands. So of course we're not talking about he passed away, he was 95 years old, right? But factually, if a man chooses to marry, he wants to put his life in jeopardy, he's welcome. There was a certain person, I'm not going to mention names, married a wife. Two of her husbands died, and Rabbi Yosef, he was a Sephardic person, a very wealthy man. Rabbi Yosef told him not to marry the woman. And he married her, and he died. Okay? He had relations with an almona. He cohabited with 3 times. Now, what's the case? We know that you're not liable for malchus unless you're forewarned. Without a forewarning, you're not liable for malchus. Okay? Idlu asur. If he wasn't forewarned, each time he cohabited pshita, they'd have chayv elachas. Right? Let's say a person eats a gzeis nevela, and he's forewarned, and then subsequently eats another 2 gzeisim. Is he going to be liable for eating the vela? He's not going to get malchus because he was forewarned on the first gzeis, not on the subsequent gzeisim. So here also, he cohabited 3 times with the woman, the same almana. See if he was only forewarned once. Okay, so the first act of cohabitation, he's forewarned. He'll receive malchus. The other 2, since he wasn't forewarned, he doesn't get malchus. And it's understood. What's the chiddush? Elad asur beg. I'll call chad v'chadu. They did forewarn him for each time he cohabited. Amayinu chayv elachas. So why is he only liable for one? Why does he only get 1 set of malchus? Each time he cohabited, he's liable for a set of malchus. Where do you find it? Gotanan, Mishnah at the end of Marcos, we had this. Nazir shose yayin kol hayom kulo. A nazir is not permitted to drink wine. Now, what's considered drinking? A revius. He has to drink a minimum volume, a revius. So let's say every revius he drinks, he's forewarned. Don't drink. He's gulping a bottle of wine, and the 2 witnesses say you're not permitted to drink. If you drink, it's a lav. You're subject to malchus. And he takes a moment break, says apple pecan. Now I'm continuing. And to every revius he swallows, another forewarning. So the Mishnah says, if he just guzzles the bottle all day, and they forewarn him before he starts drinking, he's only liable for 1 set of malchus. But as he drinks, they continuously tell him, you're not permitted to drink, and you have a liability of malchus. And he continues to drink, he's liable for each revius. What do you mean that's what he says? No, they keep forewarning him. Each revius is another lav. I mean, Torah says you're not permitted to drink. What's drinking? Revius. So if every revius, he's a violation of another lav. He has to say apple PK. Otherwise, after every revius. Every revius, apple PK.
No, but if you drink the whole bottle and he's hearing what they're saying.
But he has to respond. He has to respond.
If he doesn't respond,
No, if a person's violating something and they forewarn him, he doesn't respond. He cannot be put to death, or he doesn't receive malchus. I mean, a person could always circumvent. He could always circumvent the punishment. You just ignore the people forewarning you. But the Mishnah says in Sanhedrin, if a person does that, I mean, eventually they're going to take him. They're going to kill him. How? Because the man is a detriment to society. They put him in a room. It's called kippah. They put him in a room. They feed him a certain diet. Within 3 days, he dies. Okay? Lo tzricha shebal almonas Ruvain. He had relations with the widow of Ruvain, cohabited. Shahois almonas Shimon. Shahois almonas Levi. Okay? So she's widow. She's called the widow of 3 individuals. Mao the same of, but it's the same woman. Harei shemus muchlokim. You'd say maybe that's sufficient. That since she was widowed 3 times, it's the equivalent of gufim muchlokim, of 3 different bodies. Komashma gufim muchlokim bidon v'leko. It has to be 3 separate people. Okay? Since it's only in name, it's not in action. If it's the same woman multiple times, it's only one set of malchus. I know, but she's an almana of Ruvain, Shimon, and Levi. If it was it would be Ruvain's 3 widows, 3 women. What would the halacha be? You get 3 sets of malchus. Yeah, we just said, but you have to, you eat, if you eat that particular insect, which has 5 lavim, it says you loka chomish. You receive 5 malchus. Because that one act of eating that insect simultaneously violated 5 lavim. It says over here, well, ochel patisa. You know, you have sheretz ov. Torah repeats 5 different lavim. Take the Gemara Makos, Daf Chof and Beis.
Are any of those lavim listed with the others?
No, all equivalent. But it's all simultaneous. It's not ein yisachal iser. It's all simultaneous. Nevela. It will be two. Two. Correct. So it will be two. Right, correct. Except the way we rule, you only get one. We rule ein begidin noshim tam. It's not gid anosh is a sinew, but it's a type of sinew that it's not classified as meat. Of gid anosha, but it's not nevela. Nevela has no relevance to it. You understand? Because it has to be an edible. You don't see it as an edible. It's an argument in the Gemara whether yesh begidin noshim tam ein begidin. Do we see it as a food item or not a food item?
The rest of the food around the vein.
No, let's say you shaved it. You shave it down. All you're eating is that sinew, is that nerve. No, so then you're getting malchus because you're eating the vela in addition to get anosha. Okay?
One sinew.
Okay? We'll get to chulin. We'll learn. Okay? The Gemara says it. The Gemara says a malchus. Hello. The Gemara says a malchus. How do you have a person getting 8 malchus? A person's a Kohen, Nazir, and he plows on Shabbos, Kalayim, 2 species, with 2 animals. So he's plowing the 2 species of grain and a vineyard with an ox and a donkey. He's a Kohen, a Nazir, in a cemetery. Okay? So simultaneously, he's liable over there, so many chatos. He did inadvertently. So he has to bring multiple chatos, because simultaneously he's violating multiple lavim. Okay? Almanu grusha v'chalola. The Bryson said if a woman, first she was widowed, then she was divorced. She was widowed. Then she married an ordinary Jew, and she was divorced. So the second marriage was permitted, correct? The man who married the almana could have been a Kohen. Ordinary Kohen marries a woman, marries an almana. And then the Kohen divorces her. And then subsequently another Kohen, let's say the same Kohen, remarries her. Right? The Kohen remarries his divorcee. What does she become now when he cohabits with her? She becomes a chalola. So she's a woman, she's an almana, a grusha, and a chalola. Okay? and then subsequently she becomes a zona. She had relations with incestuous or with a mamzer. So if a person cohabits with her now, he receives 4 sets of malchus. A non-Jew. Kohen. No, same thing. Wait, hi Tana Mike Sober. This is Mara's question. Mara asked a question. We say if it's in this specific order, everyone is effective. He receives malchus for each one of these categories. But if it's not in that order, receives 1 malchus, not 4. Mara says, hi Tana Mike Sober. The Tana of the Brisa, what is his position? Of what opinion? Ik Sober Isa Chalal Isur. If he's of the opinion that you could have multiple Isurim coming upon one another, if Chanami, so even if it's not in that specific order, she should be subject, the Kohen should be subject to 4 malchus. Ik Sober Ein Isa Chalal Isur. And if you're of the opinion that once something's prohibited, an additional prohibition cannot come upon it because it's already forbidden, afilu k'seder hazeh nami lo. See, even if it's in the specific order, almona, grusha, chalola, zona, it's only 1. Omar Rava. So Rava answers, Haitano Isur Chalal Isur Leslie. Although he's of the opinion that Isur cannot come upon Isur. Once something's forbidden, and subsequently something else happens, that another Isur should come upon it, will not come upon it. Because what's the concept of Isur, prohibition? Prohibition is to prohibit it. So if it's prohibited, the Torah doesn't. We find, a semblance of this. The Gemara says, you have a lav, and then the Torah says another lav. For the same thing, the Gemara says, if it's already forbidden, what do we need another lav? But the Gemara only says that if the lav could be interpreted, could be applied elsewhere, you don't apply it to the same situation. Because if the Torah already prohibits it with a lav, what do you say? The Torah is adding another lav? If I have no choice, because we find multiple lavim for the same thing. For instance, the Torah says multiple times that if you eat blood, you're not permitted to eat blood. Right? You're not permitted to eat blood. You're not. So you have multiple. Because that is explicitly what the Torah is saying. But if it could be applied elsewhere, we don't apply it. To say the Torah is just adding lavim. The Torah just doesn't add lavim. Because it's already forbidden. So over here, if the Torah already prohibited it, now to prohibit it again, why should the Torah prohibit it again? Therefore, that's the position Ein Isur Chalal Isur. That once it's forbidden, the second Isur does not come upon it. No. They're separate. That's all simultaneous. That's its reality. It's not subsequent. It's simultaneous. No. That's called reiteration. Reiteration is the same thing. It's the same thing. No. Aser ta'aser. Hoshev toshev. That's a reiteration. That's what lav is. Torah says a separate lav elsewhere. We're not saying the same. So each one's a lav. Each one's a lav. So Marias says, although the Tana does not hold of Isur Chalal Isur, Isur Moshe Yislev. But if the subsequent Isur adds, which the first one did not include, the second one is more inclusive than the first, as the Gemara will explain. Almana. Let's say first she's widowed. A widow is forbidden to. It's not permitted. Only a Kohen Gadol. But to an ordinary Kohen, a Kohen Hedged, he's permitted to marry a widow. Okay? Now, subsequently, she's divorced. Right? So now, she was a widow. She was permitted to an ordinary Kohen. Now she's divorced. Now, this woman assumes this classification of Gerusha. You say, what's its value? Of course it has value. Because now she's not permitted to an ordinary Kohen. Because if we're not going to allow Gerusha to come upon her, an ordinary Kohen would continue to be permitted to marry her. So Gerusha includes who? People who are not included in the first categorization of Almona. So that's called Mosif. It's adding other people. The second provision has value because it's including others, which the first one did not include. Just more inclusive. More inclusive. Right? Almona Asur Kohen Gadol, Shari Kohen Hedged, but she's permitted to an ordinary Kohen. Havila Gerusha, now she becomes a Gerusha, divorcee. Migu di Tosav Li Surah, Lagabi Kohen Hedged. Since now we have this additional Isser, which has relevance to an ordinary Kohen, a Tosef Isser Gabi Kohen Gadol, right? So now this woman is categorized as what? As a Grusha, in addition to the Almona. Wait. V'adayin shari lemechel truma. Let she's a bas Kohen. Let she's a bas Kohen. Bas Kohen's permitted the truma. Even though she's a widow, although she's a divorcee, she's permitted. Havila chalola. Now, let's say this woman now has relations with a Kohen. So Kohen who has relations with a woman that's not permitted to him, because he's a Kohen, she becomes desecrated. She's called chalola. Chalola is not permitted to eat truma, even though she's a bas Kohen. So now, migu di tosef yisura lemechel betruma. Now, due to this new classification, she's not permitted to eat truma because now she's a chalola. So if she's a chalola, so now she carries 3 classifications. Almana, what? Lav. It's a lav. 1 second. Before we ask questions, let's stick to the text. So itosa, what do we say? Isura lemechel betruma. So if that's itosa isura legabi kohen gadol, so that's again. So we have another. The prohibition of chalola comes upon her, because that has a relevance to prohibit her from eating truma. Now the Gemara asks, Ela Mizona, Ma'isa Mosif. Once we've covered every conceivable situation. What does Zona add? Zona adds nothing. Right? What does Zona add? New classification. She's prohibited, the Kohen's prohibited at every level, and she's prohibited at every level. Now she has relations with a mamzer, with a non-Jew, or an incestuous relationship. So now she's called defiled, Zona. But we say Kohen Gadol receives Malchus for Zona. What does that add? It adds nothing. So if you're of the opinion, so she should not become a Zona. That categorization should not apply to her. So Rav Chana, Omer Rav Chana bar Rav Ketino, Rav Chana, the son of Rav Ketino, Hol v'shem znus posel b'Yisrael. Zona, that has relevance to every Jew, even though not in this context. But let's say, God forbid, a man's wife commits adultery, right? So she's not permitted to. So this woman having this incestuous relationship, or relationship where there's no tfisas kiddushin, it's a goy or a mamzer, the other, since it has a semblance of that, therefore it comes upon her. I mean, what kind of rationale is this? Factually, once she becomes a zone, she's still permitted to an ordinary Jew, to a Levi, an ordinary Jew. Before, she was off limits, every Kohen, whatever he was, and she is not permitted truma. What does it add? It adds because she's called that. But here we're giving the man we're giving Malchus, an additional set of Malchus. No, this Zona, no. She wasn't permitted to in either case because she was Almana, Grusha, Chalola. She had all these other previous categories. So what does Zona add? It adds nothing. Said, well, because Zona is a classification that if a man's wife commits adultery, she's not permitted. This woman didn't commit adultery. Right? So she didn't commit adultery. So what are we adding? We're adding nothing. Yeah, we're saying, despite that, she assumes this new category. It's not patent. It's a love, ordinary love. It's not patent graded. In this context, it's an ordinary love, additional love. And yet we say, Yisachal, here it will take effect. Does he say anything on the bottom, David, regarding this? It's not simple what the Gemara answers. Now, there's a question. We have about a minute. What is the rationale of Yisachal? Is it a svara? Seemingly it's a svara, but it's a machlok shishon. Whether it's exersa kosov, it's a svara. In Yisachal laser. If it's exersa kosov, then I could understand what the Gemara says. Exersa kosov means, if not for exersa kosov, I'd say Yisachal laser. So with the principle, ein bo ela chidusha. So it's only to the point where the Torah says so. Logically, rationally, I would say you just pile up, they just accumulate the various categories of provision. Xersa kosov, we don't say it. But what's the Torah saying? Of course, it accomplishes nothing. Or is the Torah saying that's definitely it? But as long as it has a semblance of something else, that's not included in the Xersa kosov. But if you say it's logic, what are we accomplishing? What's its value? So what if the shame's nus? Because a man's wife commits adultery, she's not permitted to him. Therefore, we apply a new categorization, classification of zona, that he should be subject for another set of malchus.